Hello and welcome to round 2 of the UIAA Ice Climbing World Tour here in the spectacular Champagny-en-Vanoise. It's also pretty chilly this morning. It was minus 20 degrees, but that won't be enough to stop the action this afternoon. We've got an amazing lineup of athletes from all over the world, and it promises to be a real showstopper. They've barely had time to catch their breath though from all the action last weekend in Cheongsong, Korea, where we saw a dominant performance from the Koreans in the men, and we saw Petra Klingler clinch victory in the women's. Tristan Aladevon, still he fights on. Oh, and he's off now. Young-hae Kwon looking ahead, breathing hard. Unlucky for Kwon. Hyung Park dinos across just as the clock ends. With massive amounts of strength, agility, flexibility. Oh no! It's all over! Sina Gertz got 30 seconds left now. Can she get number 15? Oh no, and she's off! Far so good for Yunsun. She's flying through, Yunsun Shin. Really a masterclass here now. Oh no! Tempted fate. Petra gets high in the figure of 4 there. Emma McSwiggan's high point is not far away. Petra now moves ahead. Oh no! And Petra comes off. This is full of surprises. Third goes to Sina Gert. Second place goes to Korean Yunsun Shin. Number 1 position will go to Petra Klingler. Over on the men's final. So it's Hyung Park, Young-hae Kwon and Tristan Aladevon take first, second and third. It was a great weekend of action. Now let's see where the standings lie for the overall World Cup title. In the men's, it's Hyung Park who leads the field with 100 points. Young-hae Kwon is second with 80 points and Tristan Aladevon is third with 65 points. Fourth place, Keenan Griscom from USA. Luna Ladevant is in 5th place after falling early last weekend. Younggan Lee, Korean athlete with 47 points. And in 7th place is Mohamed Reza Safdarian from Iran. Finally, in 8th is Virgil Devin from France. Over on the women, leading the rankings is Petra Klingler. So she goes into this contest as favourite. She has 100 points. Yunsun Shin came second and she's got 80 points, and Sina Gertz is lying in 3rd place with 65 points. Emma McSwiggan in 4th from Ireland. Haruko Takuchi from Japan is 5th. 6th is Marianne van der Steen. 7th is Wonwai Jeong from Korea. And 8th is Catalina Scherney from USA. So Petra remains the favourite despite almost crashing out of the semi-finals last night. But before that, we managed to catch up with her. Petra, how is it to be back here in Champagny?
It's amazing. I mean, I love the area. It's so beautiful. Cold, but amazing. And the structure as well. It's like probably one of my favorite structures next to Tasvi, of course.
Now, how does the cold affect you? I saw you earlier putting your bare hands in the snow. Can you explain why you were doing that?
Yeah, I was trying kind of to get like really cold hands with the idea that the blood afterwards will flow into the hands, which gives warm hands, kind of that idea. And up till now it was working, so I'll definitely do it again.
So you won last weekend. You won the World Championships in Saas-Fee last year. Are you going into this contest with the aim to win?
Yeah, of course, after a victory like last weekend, it's kind of the logical result that I want to win again. But I also know that like I'm not the only one capable of winning this comp, so I have to fight for it. I have to climb well. And we'll see what it will be, but fingers crossed.
Are you feeling in good condition? Because you're not training all the time for ice climbing, are you? You're also focusing on bouldering.
Yeah, well, before this season, or before Korea, I was really surprised actually that I was climbing so well in Korea, because I started climbing on ice axes maybe in beginning mid-December, so not much time on ice axes. My confidence wasn't really here at all, but Korea definitely gave me that a little bit back. So we'll see what will be, but I'm happy to be here. It's fun to climb. It's challenging to climb in these conditions, so yeah, I'm excited.
And how was your qualification run earlier?
The first route was not so good, or for me, like the feeling was not so good. It was quite a tricky route. I wasn't feeling comfortable on the moves, so I was climbing slow, and with that I timed out. So I hoped to get a top, but wasn't the case in that time.
Well, good luck, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Luna Ladevant is the men's favourite today, despite crashing out of Cheongsong last weekend. He is here with a man on a mission to prove it's his home turf, it's his home structure, and we also found time to chat to him yesterday. Luna, welcome. Obviously, last weekend was a disaster. Your kit didn't turn up, and you had a pick that broke on you. Are you feeling the pressure to perform today?
Yeah, actually I'm like in the home structure, and last weekend was not the result I expected. So yeah, I have a bit of pressure to like, there is only 2 World Cup left, so if I want to go for the overall rank, I need to perform on this one for sure. But I know what I have to do, then I just need to do it.
Is it an advantage to be here on your home turf? I mean, obviously you know the structure really well, but also maybe there's pressure, the French athletes.
Yeah, I know the structure very well, so that's a big advantage for sure. And there is also a bit of friends and family that come to cheer, but this is not pressure, it's just very cool. So no, it's just, maybe it's better to win here.
And what's the goal then for today and for this World Tour?
For today is to qualify in semi in first place, after qualifying finals in first place, and then climb my best tomorrow. And I think I need to win this World Cup to have a chance on the overall. So yeah, there is a lot going on this weekend.
And tell us a little bit about the structure. How does that compare to other walls on the World Tour? Obviously here you got a lot more ice, haven't you?
Yeah, you got a lot more ice. Also, yeah, normally there is the big overhang, but now it's only been 2 days of very cold weather, so they didn't manage to like put the ice on very big overhang. So it's a shame, but yeah, there is a lot of ice, and we know very well the structure. It's very long in finals. You have to cross like all the way. So yeah, it's going to be very cool.
And lastly, this is your home. This is the place where you train.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the area? What's it like? Is it a great place to come and climb?
Yeah, it's a great place. I mean, it's Lapland, so it's great ski resort. There is plenty of amazing stuff to do. It's just amazing here. So yeah, very, very nice to be here.
Well, good luck. I hope it really goes well for you today.
Thanks a lot, man.
So this is what it all comes down to. No pressure there for Luna Ladevant. So far, the plan is going well. He did qualify first. He did top the semis, and here he is. He's just and the goal remains to win the finals. So pressure is on him. And in a few minutes, it's all going to kick off with the men and women's lead. And let's have a look at those starting lists. First up will be Petra Klingler from Switzerland. Second will be Marianne van der Steen from the Netherlands. Marianne Thomas will come up next. Then Annie Bertling from Finland. Emma McSwiggan from Ireland, Vivian Labaril from Switzerland, Sina Goetz from Switzerland, and Yunsun Shin from Korea will be last in 8th place. Over on the men's side, it's Jejun Lim from Korea will start. Tristan Ladevant will come out second from France, and Young Kan Lee third from Korea. Then Nathan Claire from France, Hyung Park from Korea, Benjamin Bossard from Switzerland, Virgile Devin from France, and last out will be Luna Ladevant. And for sure, that will be something to look forward to. First, it will be Petra Klingler, and she will have something to prove because, as we touched upon, she had a disaster in the semis. She very nearly crashed out. She came off early. It happens to the best athletes, and she was really very, very upset. And for a moment, it looked like she hadn't qualified, but she just scraped through the skin of her teeth. So that's why she comes out first. The starting orders are in reverse order for where you qualified. So it's going to be really interesting. It slightly flips the script of how these things normally happen. Normally, when the men or the women come out, you can expect each athlete, in theory, to climb a little bit higher on the structure. But it's not going to be like that this time. Petra is going to come out on a mission. She is going to lay down the gauntlet, and she could set a very high point. I mean, she could even top in the first route. And that will be very, very exciting. So we shall look forward to that. Winter, Luna touched upon the structure itself. It may seem surprising that he said it wasn't cold enough. And it is definitely cold enough for ice to form here. It's minus 20 degrees this morning. It's warmed up a little bit. So it's very wintry, but as anyone who's been following the news knows, winter was rather late coming to the Alps. So what you need for this structure is you need weeks of cold weather, and the cold weather came a little bit lately, more recently, but it has come, and it's absolutely beautiful here. As Luna mentioned, we're right by the ski resort of Lapland. Great ski touring here. There's also cross-country skiing, ice climbing. This structure, amazingly, is open to the public as well. Obviously not this weekend, while the competition is on. And normally, or if the weather is really cold, they can sometimes spray ice, like wind-sprayed ice, onto that structure. But there is still a lot of ice on the route, and that's what makes it quite unique compared to structures such as that at Sasfei or Cheongsong, where you might have ice elements, like a hanging barrel of ice. But on this route, both climbers, both men and women, will have to climb and traverse ice. That's quite exciting. I was talking to the organizer, Niels Guillotine, and he was telling me how they like to keep it authentic and stay true to the roots of the sport. So we've got that all about to kick off shortly. Just to give a rundown for how it will work, we'll alternate between the women and the male athletes. So the first athlete out will be Petra Klingler, and then we will have the male athlete Jejung Lim will be the first out. Now we've just got the route setters here, who are just placing the first, running the rope through the first draw. Now the name of the game here is lead difficulty. So it's all about getting as high as possible in the allotted time that you have. Now the women have 8 minutes to get as high as possible. The men, it's slightly more challenging for them. They have to climb in 7 minutes. So that kind of adds a little bit of pressure to them. And it's all about technical difficulty. These routes have been set by some of the leading route setters in the world, and four of them actually. They've all been working round the clock for the past week to set this route, and it's a kind of an art form, really, and it's about putting in different challenges that test all the different athletes and all the different skill sets that you can find in climbing. So there are moves that reward upper body strength. There are others that require dynamic strength. So we'll get to see all of that. But first, here is Petra Klingler is coming out as the first climber, and this is really exciting. So she's tying in now with the figure of 8 knot, as every climber does. It's important they tie that themselves, and they have 60 seconds to begin their climb. So Petra Klingler, along with all the other athletes, she has observed the route during 10 minutes of observation, in which they're allowed to just look at the routes, take notes. But apart from that, she has not seen this climb. She has not had a chance to test it. So it's very much what they call on-site. And she just checks behind her that the clock is all ready. And her time begins 8 minutes. Very exciting here to be in Champagny-en-Vanoise for the finals here on the second stop of the UIAA Ice Climbing World Cup. Remember, next weekend is the finale in Saas-Fee, Switzerland, and that will be home territory for Petra Klingler. So the women's route begins up the wood, and all these wood panels were replaced a few years ago. They decided not to paint them for environmental reasons. So it's always difficult at the start. You're wrestling with your nerves, with a little bit of anxiety. Clearly Petra has a point to prove, but she is one of the most experienced athletes in the entire lineup. She's been climbing in the ice climbing competition and the UIAA World Tour for many years. She's taken some time out from time to time. She's also a boulderer, bouldering world champion. That move there, you just see the experience, just being able to walk up the wood and hold that body tension. So just test the hold with her hand, using her hand. You can do that, and you'll find, certainly with experienced climbers, with rock climbers, that often they'll prefer to use their hands. She just looks up there just to check it's good. She's moving very, very quickly. Oh, very close there. She won't want to give herself a scare like that too many times. Sometimes that anxiety can play out with, you can rush. So it gets that sixth quick draw. So Petra trains for about 25 hours a week. Very, very strong climber. She's got that experience, really. But as we saw in the semis, anything can happen. It's a very unforgiving sport. And just the slightest wrong move, and you can ping and come off. So she makes that seventh quick draw, and it's the draws that give the score. That's the most important thing, to rise up and get on the scoreboard. You also get additional points for the move that you're on and where you are on that move. But the primary thing is just getting to get on that scoreboard is the quick draw. Just reaches up. Now most of these holds, they all have a particular hold. They've got to be taken in a particular way, either the pick pointing left or right, or there might be a little metal divot inside. Delicate climbing here. But her foot is nicely balanced on that volume. As she approaches now the roof. Now that line of red tape that you can see onto the right, they have to stay below that. That is forbidden for them to climb above that red line. So Petra Klingler, so far showing why she is one of the most experienced athletes in the field. Still only 30 years old. Now, although she is a world champion, she's never won the overall World Cup. And she currently leads the rankings. But first, she just needs to make sure that she does well in this route. 3.5 minutes remaining. She's on the ice. She's looking really, really strong here. Petra will have had very strong words with herself last night in a debrief after what happened during the semis. And she will be absolutely psyched here to do as well as she can. 2.5, just under 3 minutes remaining on the clock. So that's the red tape she has to stay behind. The other red tape we saw, that might be the marking up the men's route. So into that figure of 4, which just helps to stabilize the position, weight the pick, and goes into that Stein move. That's where the axe is upside down, and it is very, very secure. And you can hold the tool in the second position, which she does there. Reaches up now, approaching the 13th hold. The women have 17 quick draws. She's really already setting the bar very, very high for the competitors to follow. She just lost her footing there, but did well to get them straight back onto the wood. There we get a sense of just how overhanging it is. I mean, the strength required, but it's not just strength, it's flexibility. It's also endurance. Two of the things actually that Petra says is not her strong points, flexibility and endurance. That's where she struggles. Or where perhaps she perceives herself to struggle, because it looks from this angle that she's very, very confident. Really giving us a masterclass here. Matches with the tool. Pulls the rope through, reaches up for that 15th draw. Just over a minute remaining now. Into the figure of 4. Gives her the height to reach the next hold on the... that's just hidden behind that grey volume. There's a real mix of holds on this route. From all over the world, different styles. You've got the sort of shiny metal ones. You've got a few stone holds as well. Big crowd from below. Lots of cheers. Can hear them shouting, "Allez, allez." She's done really well, but if she's serious about winning, she has to go all the way to the top. That's the only thing that will guarantee her a place on the podium. At least give her the best chance, because we've got some very, very serious athletes coming after her. Sina Gertz and Jonsson Shin. So Petra really has to go for it now. These last few seconds, she's got 10 seconds remaining. Can she top? She's got to get the draw. She has to get that quick draw and get both tools. 3 seconds. I don't think she's going to do it. It's right on the limit. It's right on the limit. And she struggles a little bit, just fumbles with the quick draw. That's unfortunate. Now she tops. Petra Klingler. A great ascent there from the Swiss athlete. Will it be enough to see her onto the podium? Doesn't count as a top because the clock ran out, but it certainly sets the bar very, very high indeed. Now the next athletes who follow, they've all been sitting in isolation, so they know nothing of this. They can't look at their phones, they can't see where Petra went wrong. That way all athletes are given a fair chance, and it's equal for all of them. Great performance there from Petra Klingler. She will now sit on this throne, the ice box as it's called, and get a chance to watch the next athletes. So the next up is we switch to the male route now, and it's Jaejum Ling, 18-year-old from Korea, who steps up next. Now he's a new name on the UIAA World Tour. A rising star of the Korean team. He took part last weekend in Gyeongsang, where he came 9th, so just missed out on the final. So he's done well just to make the finals. And psychologically, anything here is a bonus. He's got nothing to lose. He's had no time wasted in isolation. He hasn't had to sit there and worry and get stressed. It's just all about coming out and trying to do the best that he can. And if he finishes in 8th place, well, that's how he qualified. And if he can do better, that's just a bonus. So, Jae-jun Lim, he has 7 minutes. Slightly shorter for the men. Now the men's route starts on ice, and the holds are marked with the blue paint, and the red line is the no-go zone. That's where you're not allowed to climb, to touch it or go beyond it. So Lim makes that first draw. There's quite a big reach on this next move. But he seems to have a lot of confidence rocking back and forth. He's got that body tension and stability. Really amazing. He's able to hold that hold that his lower pick is on. It's obviously really, really solid. And now he just eases himself up, matches through the hands, pulling through on that tool. So he goes into that Stein, that upside down maneuver. Either named after the beer pulling Stein or the German word for rock, which is Stein, depending on where you're from. And now this move with the right, that looks the same, it's different. It's an undercling. It's the head is not connected, so it's a lot more unstable. So to be able to hold that position, that takes quite a lot more effort and strength. So he's moving fairly swiftly up this lower section of the wood. Uses that reverse grip. Now holding the tool that way also it kind of utilizes the rather larger back muscles rather than the sort of forearms and the upper arms when you're holding the tool with your thumb facing the head of the axe. So 4.5 minutes remaining for Jae-jun Lim. He's one of 3 Korean athletes to make the final. Team Korea clearly showing that 3 years of not being able to compete internationally have not set them back. It's really great to see them back on the world tour after all the years of COVID. So he sits in that figure of 4, helps to stabilize the pick. And now he's just looking for that next hold. Just got to place the pick in exactly the right spot. Accuracy is so important. Has he got it? He thinks so. Matches with the right, and now he can get the draw. And move up to 8. So he's approaching the roof. This is where things get very, very upside down. And you begin to wonder how they actually do this. The strength required, the agility and balance. it's really aerial gymnastics. He just subtly changes his grip there. Being able to hang off one arm is definitely an advantage. You see the men doing it more than the women for obvious reasons. And now it's a case of sort of moving through the sequence of figure 4, figure of 9 moves to traverse across. Figure of 4 being opposite arm to the opposite leg. And then when you put the same side arm over the same side leg, that's the figure of 9. And then he needs to just get out onto the ice here. The ice should all have pre-marked holds. These tools are not optimized for pure waterfall ice climbing. They're really dry tooling tools. So for climbing ice, they're actually quite difficult. So you won't see them swinging the tool. They just need to place them, or to hook them, as it's called. He's just looked at his strap had come undone on his shoe. Now, interesting hold this. We don't see these kind of holds that often. A little bit of a pendulum effect. Now it's a big reach here to get that next hold. And he sticks it. He's looking really, really confident here. Great performance. Just over a minute remaining, and now he can't extract the pick, and he comes off. That's Jejum Ling. Great performance there in his first final. Only 18 years old, and puts his arm in the air to celebrate. A really, really solid performance from Jejum Lim there. Really showing us that for sure he's going to be someone we're going to see again on the World Cup scene. There was no move where he looked really stressed or uncomfortable. He'll be happy with that. So we now go back to the women. And this is Marianne van der Steen from the Netherlands. Currently ranked 6th on the overall rankings after her performance last week in Cheongsong. So she's been around for many years, a lot of experience. She's done very well on the European tour. She was 2nd overall in 2020 and 2018. But on the World Tour, it's proved a little bit more elusive for her. The goal is to win this season the European Cup and reach the podium in a World Cup. So she now has 8 minutes to get higher than Petra Klingler. And very excitingly, we will be joined in a moment by her husband, Dennis van Hoek, after her climb. We thought that perhaps he would be a little bit too enthusiastic, sitting in the co-commentator's chair while his wife was climbing. And she also needs someone to shout the time at her. Athletes have 8 minutes, and it's quite difficult to keep track of the time, so it helps to have someone below shouting the time up at her. And that will be her husband, Dennis van Hoek, who's a speed and lead climber, and he'll be joining us a little bit later, offering us some of his expert analysis and many, many years of experience. He's been competing now, gosh, over 10 years now. But here we are with Marianne van der Steen in the finals of the second stop of the UIAA Ice Climbing World Cup here in Champagny-en-Vanoise. She really looks down there just to check her feet placement, make sure that they are in the right place. That's so important. It all begins in the feet. And making really solid kicks into that wood. Trying to relax where possible. Holding that the grip. You don't want to hold it too tight. You need to have it just enough that it's able to support you, but you don't want to be holding on for dear life. Now she just sort of reaches up there, has a good look. Otherwise there's no way of really seeing these holds. And you just want to make sure that you really are in the right spot before committing and making that next move. So now she's on that Stein maneuver. It's very, very secure. If it's maintained in that position, dangers come when you start climbing above it. But she's already on the next move. So Mariana, really strong climber. Got really big hands as well. She's got some of the biggest hands on the World Tour. Well, that's not always advantage. On the downside, she says she does suffer from insecurity from time to time, with that positive mindset required to perform at your best. And this really is a mind game. So one of the tricks that she will do is to write notes to herself, telling herself, I'm strong, I can do this. No doubt that would have been the sort of thing she would have been telling herself in isolation before coming out. Moving nicely. She's not the fastest of lead climbers, but she does look very, very solid. Big reach there. And this yellow hold. Just under 4 minutes remaining on the clock. Just moves the tool around. That's sort of just a side hang. Swaps out the hands. It's a good foot placement there. Reaches up onto that upper hold. First gets that 9th quick draw. It's so important to draws don't just give you a score. It's also mandatory to clip them in order, and if you fail to clip a draw, that's you're out. You have to stop your climb there or rectify it immediately. So 3 minutes remaining for Marianne van der Steen. She's now battling the roof, using those sequence of moves. She's got the figure of 9 going on, right leg over the right knee. She tries to get that left tool into the correct place, and then she can swap the leg over and put that right leg over. Get that next draw, and then move onto the ice. 2.5 minutes. On the leader bar, we can see the high point reached by Petra. Quick draw number 16. Move number 37. And Mariana doing really well here. Just allows herself a little shake out of the arm. She needs to keep moving. to get as high as she can on this route. Here we get a view of just a sense of how steeply overhanging it is on this roof. Gets into the figure 9. Into that Stein. Pulls hard. Now she can get her feet out and reach up high onto what looks like a metal hold, which are really strong once you've got your pick in exactly the right spot. Anywhere else it can be slippery and just skid off. We did have a few technical incidents during the qualifiers earlier. Some of the metal holds fractured due to the cold, so they needed to be replaced. But I think that problem's now been rectified. So 30 seconds remaining for Marianne van der Steen. We can hear now everyone encouraging her. Dennis, her husband, will be shouting the time. Ale, Ale, come on, come on. Just try and get a little bit higher now. Can she get onto this upper section? 10 seconds remaining. Can she get that hold? She'll at least get the points, even if she can't get the draw. It all counts. So that is the clock timeout. She'll get that quick draw anyway, but the clock stopped before she was able to get it. Great performance there from Marianne van der Steen. Really solid performance. Whether it's enough to see her on the podium, that could be a challenge, especially when you see who's climbing after her, and there's a real lineup of some great climbers who are all at the top of their game. Annie Bertling still to come, Emma McSwiggan, Sina Gertz, Yun Sun Shin. Some really great female athletes all competing. Oh, she's so pumped she can't undo her knot. You often see that. You're just so pumped. You know you're pumped, and you couldn't have given any more when you can't undo that knot. Your forearms are just so worked. So next up is Tristan Ladevant from France. He's the older brother of Luna. Currently lying in 3rd place in the overall rankings for the 2023 World Cup. Not as strong as his brother Luna, but he made the podium last year at Saas-Fee and the World Championships, came 3rd. So for sure he will be hoping for a 3rd or even better this time around. He actually said his goal, what he would love, is to be on the podium again with his brother. There's always that caveat. They almost seem to come as a pair. So I'm just being joined by Dennis van Hoek. So he'll join us just in a second as we watch Tristan Ladevant on the opening section of the men's route. Dennis, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Fantastic to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I just had to scream my lungs out for my wife.
I was going to say, have you got your voice back? I was worried that...
Almost. I just had to sip of water and... well, that was intense.
So is Marianne happy very, very quickly? Was she pleased with that performance?
I guess she's happy, but not pleased. Obviously, just like Tristan, she really wants to go for a top.
As every athlete does, presumably.
Of course, and well, you have to be realistic in your climbing, and I think she performed it really well. She did good.
Well, we'll come back to that when we look at the women's route. We can look at more detail at all the challenges there. But here we're with Tristan Ladevant, and he is the second male athlete to come out. And have you had a chance to actually look at the male route?
I just saw the Korean climb. What was his name again? Sorry.
Oh, it's I know he's
the youngest guy. I don't know him.
Jae Lim.
Oh, Jae Lim. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's the youngest guy competing in the finals today.
Yes, that's right. He's 18.
Yeah, I guess I'm just old. I don't know him yet.
It's interesting you mentioned the age, because it seems like the men, all the guys are in their kind of 80, they're young, the 20s. The oldest is Hyung Park, who's 40. Whereas when you look at the kind of the women's ages, a lot more athletes in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah, and that way there's a bit more experience in age with women than the man. But
the guys, yeah youth versus experience.
Well, I guess so. Yeah.
So Tristan Ladevant, he's a really great climber to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he climbs really confident usually, and he just has this mindset that he wants to perform well, just like his brother, but in another way.
They're very competitive. I mean, you do see it. They're all kind of relaxed and chilled, but the moments before they go into battle, you can see the look of steely determination on both their faces.
Yeah, just teeth digging into his tools, full focus.
Do you have any kind of intel on the kind of the kind of holds that they're using in this contest, or what athletes are saying about the routes and generally?
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of new holds that appeared on this comp actually. Tristan already passed the little green volume, so it has a steel plate on the side. It's quite tricky because there's like tiny little holes in there you can't see. You're going in blind and you have to find one of those tiny little dots. And when you find one, you're not sure if it's like a pocket or just a very shallow hole.
Tristan just wondering which way to go there. I thought he was going to lunge for the ice straight away, but no, he's going to put in another move.
Yeah, obviously it's quite good to get your feet in to get rid of a bit of pump. But then you see the clip will quite hard, but he has the muscle power to just like lock off and get it in.
And do you like the fact they've got ice, and that's a real integral part of this route? Rather than just having an ice barrel, you got actual ice segments.
It's just really cool that there's real ice in here. I mean, it's ice climbing, so come on, we need some real ice. And this transitions part, it's really nice to just blend into the structure to have real ice. Wish we had the overhanging ice, but unfortunately it has been a bit too warm the last weeks. So I'm really glad there is all this ice there.
Yes, I was sort of explaining it might be hard for kind of viewers to comprehend that it's minus 15, but not cold enough for the ice to form, but it needed to be cold for several weeks, really.
Yeah, ice needs to grow. You need quite some time to get a thick layer of ice. This is a really interesting hold he's on now. It's a small piece of chain, and you need loads of body tension too. Oh wow, that's awesome. He just lounged in there
and got it. Yeah, we saw Jae Lim when he put it in the chain. It was quite difficult to extract.
Yeah, and it's a really long move. I'm impressed. He just grabbed that like first lounge and locked it off. Wow.
So the time is flying by. The men, as a reminder, they have 7 minutes, and he's got less than 2 minutes remaining on the clock.
But he's already way into the second part of the wall, and then there's just the final bit, the little triangle in top. Well, let's see how he rolls.
Let's see. Looks like... Do you get a little bit of rope drag sometimes when you're pulling the rope through?
Yeah, and this is really a long route with quite a lot of corners, so the rope drag is really dragging you down at some point. So another intellect into... Oh yeah, a Stein. And I think there's one of those little tiny Iranian holds there. So there's just a really tiny hole in that plate, and you have to find it, and he has it like almost straight away.
So it's really, it's just the accuracy, it seems so important.
And this is a couple of quite accurate moves in a row. The next one is long, but the hold is good. It's a Korean bow tie.
Now the men's route only has, there are 20 draws in it. So I'm even thinking, is Tristan, potentially seeing a top here?
If he keeps his pace, he can top. Pretty sure of it. But you see, he does have a bit of pump. He needs to shake. He has to commit fully to it now. It's into one of the new Iranian holds. I didn't climb on them until this comp, and I think for a lot of people they're quite new. Oh, it's so hard. It's such a long move going over an edge like that.
It looks so strenuous, and the clock now is ticking down.
He has it.
He's got it. He's got 10 seconds remaining now. He'll just be wanting to...
I'm not sure if he's actually on the hold. It's really...
It's close. Can he get that draw? Just in the final seconds.
3 seconds left.
He's got
Might
it.
just move one more move. He's into the Iranian hold. All right, that's it.
And the clock stops on Tristan Ladevant. Great performance from the Frenchman there. He'll be happy with that. Come on.
Give
French
me some
crowd.
noise.
Make some noise, please, for me. Great performance there. So what are the Iranian holds like? Is it just like a little metal disc?
It's a combination of the base plates are almost identical, so they have I don't really how to describe it, a butterfly-like pattern, and then they have different holds welded onto them. They're mostly metal. So I'm not sure. I think this one has balls on it, and there's ones with little triangles. So it's quite hard to see from the bottom to know to identify them actually.
So really a great move here from Tristan actually to make those moves when you've only just seen it from the bottom from observation. That's obviously quite a skill in itself to be able to observe and work out the types of moves that you need to make.
Yeah, that's the whole interesting part about the on-site climbing. Obviously, you won't know what you get, and if holds look similar from the bottom, you really have to decide when you get there or split second what to do.
So this is Marion Salmon-Thomas. Now, she was earlier competing in speed, so do you think that could affect her performance?
Well, a lot of athletes train a couple of times a day, so they're able to perform at their peak twice a day. But then it has been quite cold, and that drains a lot of energy. So I hope she's recovered in time and
well, let's see. We will soon find out. But Marion, she seems to be on form this year. She's put in already competed in a couple of European tour stops. She was second in Zelina, wasn't she? And
yeah, she did really well. I actually have high expectations of her climb. In the qualifications she didn't do that well, but then the semis she performed solid. So I think she should do fine now in finals. I mean, it's her home ground.
Yeah, all the French athletes should be very familiar with the structure. But as you say, a lot of the holds are completely new to them.
Yeah, and then there's been an Iranian route setter bringing in new holds. So not a lot of people have been climbing on them. There have been some on the training wall, so you can familiar with them.
That's Masoud Zenali. He was one of the first Iranian climbers on the World Cup. Competed here back in 2017, and he's the chief route setter. Do you ever remember him competing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, well, I know him for a long time, and he brought a lot of interesting stuff with him on this comp. It's quite cool. So we have a little volume here again with the metal plate. It's a hold made from wood with metal on the side. It's a Czech guy who's making these, and they only appeared on the European Cup I think last year, and this is the first season they have been used on World Cups as well.
Now, isn't there a hold somewhere out there called the Dennis?
I'm saying no. But I design holds myself, and I know people have been referring to my holds as, yeah, go for that Dennis. And I'm like, no, that's a pocket hold. That's not a Dennis. Yeah, this is also another metal hold, small hook. Actually, we climbed on that, I think, in the...
So I was talking to the route setter, Antonin Cecchini, and he was saying that the circular holds are actually a stone.
Yeah, this is a real stone set in epoxy resin. So it's really circular. You see she's really having her body tension and position exact in the right position, not to slip off.
It seems climbers have mixed feelings about the stone, that a lot of climbers don't like it because it can degrade and
It's really depending on the stone as well. I know this is a really, really hard granite. And then there's the metal intellects, like the one she passed just before. And I actually prefer the real rock. It's more like the real stuff. Onto a little change, just like with the man earlier. And there will be a big dynamic move after this clip.
Where do those chains come from? I'm not sure I've seen those before.
No, actually, I haven't
Cup.
seen them on any World Cups so far. It's quite funny because we used to train on chains at home to simulate ice barrels. Oh, yeah, and into another real rock hold. And these are really slippery. These are like polished triangles, so you have to be super steady on them. And she's doing just fine.
She's certainly moving up.
Yeah, she has to lock off really high to get into this next hold. Another Korean little pocket. She makes it look easier.
And just walks her hands up the tool. Does that just give you a little bit of extra height when you're doing that to make the next move?
It does, but if you go too high on your tool, you can come off balance and the tool might slip. So it's fine balance in between gaining height and falling off, obviously. So into this really high move. First two girls made it look quite easy actually, but it's a really long reach. To get that feet up to the volume and then just sort of like a mental move in a way. Push from that leg, pistol squat. Oh, okay.
Made it look easy,
yeah,
didn't she?
Made it look easy once again. She's doing well on time. 4 minutes left.
I mean, Marion actually told me that she was concentrating more on next year, but she doesn't seem to be doing too badly for this season.
Well, try me. If you train on World Cup finals, I think you're doing really well.
Absolutely.
This is a big jog with quite a long reach, and there's no way you can leave your feet into a figure 9.
And then round into the figure 4.
There's another. I haven't seen what kind of holds on that volume, but it seems a bit sketchy because all girls were a bit careful on it. And that one is solid once again.
And then here, is it just a case of just getting the feet on the ice as early as possible?
Yeah, just get that weight off your hands. Oh, she's doing the clip. That's brave. I mean, I would just get into that ice and get safe and then clip. But ice can be quite tricky as well. I mean, it's easy climbing, but you don't want to come off, obviously.
Is it easy with the tools? Because obviously these types of tools are optimized for dry tooling. They're really not optimized for pure ice.
No, they're optimized for hooking, like you're saying, for dry tooling. So if the ice is featured, like it is here, you can climb ice, but if you would climb on a blank waterfall, they would bounce off, actually.
Yeah.
That's why you don't see them swing. All girls are hooking. It's featured ice.
So that means the holds are already there. And they're marked as well with little blue paint.
Well, actually, on this side, it's not marked. In the start, there was like a couple of marked blue holes, and here it's just blank ice, but there are so many little icicles and little bulbs and features you can just hook onto. And, well, there is some blue marking up here. Wonder if she's going for it. Nope, she just ignores it and takes the highest point she can find, which is smart, but you still have to get into the next hold, which is quite low down. And I think you could skip it, but the clip would be really hard. So you sort of have to take it.
And it looks like
she's climbing down again to get into that hold. She was quite high. So she has the right body position to get into that hold and clip it now. Of course, you need to get all these clips, and obviously you could climb the ice, try to skip that hold, but you won't be able to clip.
And that's the end. So if you miss a quick draw,
yep, that's it.
That's your high point. So it's so important for athletes to make the quick draws.
Into another Stein. Over a minute left. Let's see if she can speed up.
Great moves here from Marianne Thomas. 13th quick draw in sight with a minute remaining on the clock.
Oh, she looks really pumped here. Come on. You see that a little shake in there? It's so steep. It's really deceiving if you watch it live. If you're under that tower, it's a massive roof. Oh, come on.
Oh, and she's
you
off.
see that pump in that roof. Oh, she did really well.
She looks really happy. I mean, clearly she just climbed to the limit there, just ran out of energy.
Well, she was way over her limit. You saw already their elbows going up.
Great performance from Maria Samantoma, part of Team France. She's been ice climbing for years now. I think this is her 8th year ice climbing. So hopefully we'll see her many more World Cups to come.
That's a proper pump there.
When you can't undo your figure of 8.
Yeah, well, it's also a bit of pride. Like, I can undo my figure of 8. But if you're really pumped like that, then there's just no way. Oh, she went all the way.
She's finally resigned to Rob Adey from the UIAA doing it. Yeah, she looks pretty beat there.
Well, that's what you do if you have a huge crowd behind you cheering at you. You just won't let them down. You just give everything and go beyond. That's what she did. Oh, I feel her pain here.
Oh, has she got the hot takes, do you think, coming through?
I think it's a combination of hot eggs and just like a really deep pump.
So you've climbed, obviously, probably at every venue all around the world and European tour stops. How does this one compare?
This one is the iciest one of all. It's really nice to have such a featured wall with loads of 3D parts and all this ice on here. It's always really nice to see. So the men also start in their first bit of ice here.
No, so 4 more still to come after her. And the high point is still the just under the top, was reached by Petra Klingler. Oh, look, we've got a little bit of a close-up there of that hold. You get a sense of just how small they are and the body tension required to hold these moves.
Like if you would try to stein that hold, it would probably pop. So you need to keep the tension and have a floating head, as they call it.
The leader bar has returned. So we can see where Annie is, and we can see how far she still has to go.
She's going.
And she moves into that pistol squat. Reaches up.
Oh, she has a long reach. Didn't have to push that hard on that pistol squat. But she used her hands, so she gained quite a bit of height. And using your hands is allowed, obviously, but there is quite the challenge to keep onto those slippery holds with those gloves on.
And the other issue with using your hands is that if you fall, you don't get the points.
No,
you
need the tool on that hold. So, but she already touched it with the tool, so she got the points. And if you use it to make progress, it's fine.
Oh, so is that like a little tactical move you do? If you're using your hands, you might touch the hold just with the tool.
You would see it a lot of time. People would just use the tool, and then they have the points, and then grab it by hand. Let's see how she goes through this figure 4 sequence.
Onto the ice.
That's a blind move. Like, we can see it's a jog, but she's not sure.
Just get the feet on the ice. I'm not sure if you can hear, but in the background we've got all the howling dogs, these huskies that are raring to go as well. As Annie Bertling makes her way up the ice. It's a real winter playground, this place. Now we can't see exactly what's going on here. We've also lost our clock. We've had a little bit of a technical issue there with the internet dropping out, so we do apologise for that. But it can't be long now that she's got left on the clock. The women have 8 minutes. But still, she's going.
So Annie is more of a technical climber. You saw on the first wall, she really was shining and moving really well.
Just lost her feet there.
I think her time is up. Is it? Or she's moving back? Or not?
It can't be long before the clock is out, but she's still...
No, she's just recovering.
She's just resting. She's just...
It's really hard to have a move like downwards like this. So she tries to gain some power, and she's in.
She's still fighting. Come on, Annie.
Got that clip. Next move is quite
She's
a
got
long
the next
one,
points.
but she has the power.
The clock
Nice.
is surely counting down now into that.
That's a solid hold. Come on, Annie.
Can she get it?
She's in there. This is like a mental rest, not a physical one, obviously, but this, if you're in there, you won't move out. You feel like, okay, I want to stay here, but you have to move.
Reaches up onto that yellow hold on the volume. And still she keeps moving through this section. She's not hanging around. Allows herself a little bit of a shake. Just looked like for a second like her foot came off there. She must be at the limit now of her endurance and power.
So that's her husband, Polly, yelling her up. I think she's in the last minute.
It's really all about now just trying to get that little bit extra further. Reaches up, gets that next hold. Doing so well. Can she get the 14th draw?
She's the first one actually using it the way it was set. Because Petra skipped. And she's off.
I think that might have been the timeout.
Yeah.
She's left her tool behind, so there'll probably be a little bit of a delay while they retrieve that. But overall, a great performance there from Annie Bertling from Finland. Gives a crowd a wave. Do you think she would be content with that performance?
Well, obviously she wants to top, but I think she did really well, and I think she will be happy because she is not really the roof climber. She's really the technical climber, and I think she performed really well in this roof. And she had quite a lot of time left when she moved back into the ice to get a little bit of a rest.
So that leaves her third in the rankings at the moment. So still Petra Klingler leads the field, having reached almost the top. The clock just ran out on her. Marianne van der Steen got to 14:30, and Annie almost the same place as Marianne, just below her. I think she's saying she got a little bit of pump there.
Yeah, obviously she's really pumped. It's such a massive roof. There's no way you climb that without getting bumped.
I mean, some of this is. I mean, it's 8 minutes. So look, we're back with the men now, and this is Nathan Clare, and he's a really exciting climber to watch. I don't know if you watched him in the semis. He's just seems like he's got so much upper body strength, and
he's such a powerhouse.
He just powers through everything, doesn't he? And the dyno that he did on the qualifiers route, he just sort of launched into space, and very fun athlete to watch. Now, he seemed to say to me, or give the impression, and I don't know whether this is something all climbers say, is that, you know, he's not training that much, and he's not so focused on the World Cup.
And then he's so strong.
And just completely just smashes it.
Well, if they say they don't train that much, they might mean they did not climb on this tower, but they have been doing probably loads of rock climbing and spending time on their tools. He developed a whole new area here close by in France, near Pombier. And this is just like hard moves, one after another. And usually he's not into figures of four, so that's why he tried to skip it. He's into the DTS style, but to make this move, he just throws away his DTS principles because he just wants to make it.
Remind me what DTS, for those viewers who don't understand.
Yeah, well, it's a French dry tool style, and basically means no figures of four. Oh, he's trying to skip that hold. So there is some hold in the delta volume, and we can't really see what it is, and he doesn't know either.
He's changed his mind. He's back on it. He's going to stick with that one. But he does seem to be wasting a lot of time here.
Yeah, that's the problem. If you don't know the holds, you saw him move earlier. He's like so strong, but if you have no idea about those holds, then it might actually eat a lot of time, and you have to power through later on.
Well, that's
stuck now, eh? Allez, Nathan.
Third time lucky. Does it stick?
Onto something. He's not sure.
He's going to trust it. He matches with the right.
All right, we're a little close up there. So it's side pull. I think it's a Korean side pull hold. Let's see if he can recover, come back from here.
May have cost him a lot of valuable time. And possibly strength as well. Even the strongest climbers get affected.
Well, he's not afraid of just lock-offs, one-arm pull-ups. He's just... Pop, pop, pop. Let's see.
Yeah, in French, I learned that they call it, when you do a kind of lock-off with one arm, they call it fermeture, closed.
He's really good at closing, for sure. Another floater, you can't stein it. And he seems confident on these holds.
Really working through quickly. Here's something to watch. Nathan was the first French climber to kind of break that 18-year drought on the World Tour, coming second in Beijing a few years ago, back in 2019. And he's had a few solid performances since then. So just over 3 minutes remaining.
He just stays on his short handles, like pop, pop, moving on. Let's see what he makes of this ball. He really likes his dry tooling, a real rock, so this might be his not preferring the metal stuff. But he seems fine on this one. Another figure. Trying to find one of those tiny dots, and he has one.
He's certainly got a big reach, hasn't he?
He's quite tall.
I mean, does that help being tall?
It does in a way, but I can tell you from experience it might affect your climbing a lot as well, because as long as you're in a wall like this, it's quite handy. But the moment you hit like an overhang or a steep roof, it's a disadvantage.
Yeah, because you see climbers like Mohamed Reza Sefdarian, who's not the tallest, and it hasn't slowed him down.
No, he's super efficient in his roof climbing, also because he's a bit lighter and smaller. It doesn't have to affect you in any negative way to be a bit smaller or taller.
So Nathan Clare here, showing how to work this roof.
A bit of tangle with the rope going there. Oh no, he slips off.
He's got it onto the ice. He's got so much strength, hasn't he, just to be able to hold that.
He almost pops out of his shirt there. Just pop. All right, into the ice. See if he can make up some time.
Also, the flexibility that he's got there in the legs. How important is that to have that, be able to open up those hips?
It does help you a lot. If your hips are not as flexible or working against you, you won't be able to do a quick figure four. And moving those feet into that ice like he did, you need good hip flexibility for sure. So here's the little chain. Let's see how his aiming is.
He's got it. Now it's the big reach out to that next green hold. Let's got to get that draw.
He came in with a short handle, which is smart because you gain a bit of reach. Oh, no. Lost his feet there. Comes back in. Oh, wow, that's amazing.
That is incredible.
This requires a lot of body tension, this move. Let's see if he can stick it.
Can he extract his tool, though, on the left? He's got to give that a bit of slack.
You do, and you need to keep that tension at the same time. Oh, that's so hard.
What's he going to do? Oh, he's done it.
And he's still on. Oh, that was a close call.
And still he's hanging in there with just 15 seconds remaining on the clock. He likes to live dangerously, it seems. Nathan Clare from France.
Oh, no!
And that is his attempt over here in the finals in Champagny. A great display. Can't help feeling he will be a little bit disappointed at all the time that he lost here, this opening move where he just hemorrhaged time. but he really showed his skills across this roof.
This was such an amazing move. Lost his feet and he went back in and just powered through. Wow.
And got it. A massive grin from ear to ear. He's one of the happiest athletes, I think, on the circuit. He's always just seems to be like enjoying himself.
Yeah, it was nice. Oh yeah, he's so cool. Lovely guy. So that took second place for him.
So yeah, he moves into second place now, behind only Tristan Ladevant, who's still several points ahead. And next up is Emma McSwiggan from the women. This is her 10th year competing. First took part in 2013. Also a very, very strong athlete, very, very experienced. Got a great head. And even she's had a little bit of a niggling injury with a intercostal muscle in the rib, which gave her a little bit of grief last weekend in Cheongsong, but it didn't seem to affect her too badly.
She climbed really well last week.
She came fourth, so yeah. She said it was a little bit painful in places, but I guess you can turn it on and turn it off sometimes. So she now has 8 minutes, which begin now.
She climbs on the really interesting tools. I think there's only a couple of them because they're handmade in Korea.
Oh, are they again sort of Korean kind of style adapted?
Yeah, these are made by Ming, and these are handcrafted. These are not even adaptive, these are made from scratch. And I know that only people who are fairly light and climb on like very careful can use them. Like I would break them for sure.
So if you do like some massive dyno on them, that's not going to be good.
Not with my weight. But they're really precise tools, and I know Emer has been climbing for a long time on them, and she's really good with these tools. They're like 3-handle tools as well. I think these were one of the first 3-handle tools that were going around. And she's been climbing on them for the last 10 years, I think. So Emir is not just competing a lot, but she's also really involved in the whole ice climbing scene. She's with the athlete committee as well. So if we have any issues,
you go to Emir.
We go to Emir, yeah, and she's really taking good care of us, and that's why it's always lovely to see her climb as well.
What kind of issues typically arise? Are they just sort of little things about new rules or
like small route setting things, or just anything ice climbing related? Oh,
that hold is almost invisible.
Yeah, you can't see it.
You can barely see it.
This is pretty smart, moving into that hold first before clipping, because if you clip early, you lose time actually lifting up the rope, but then you already have your points. But in this case, you know you have to climb really high, so you just try to make your moves as quickly and efficient as possible, get the next hold, pass your quick draw, and then clip it. Because if you be clipping in advance all the time, you just lose precious seconds.
Right. And it's the same for people just climbing at the climbing wall. It's always more efficient to clip when it's at waist height, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Rather than constantly trying to reach,
safe.
Make the move, and then clip the draw. But here, the temptation to clip early must be high because it is the points. You just want to get the points.
And sometimes they put an extra clip in between two holds if it's a really long move like this one. But you'll be making an additional move to clip before you're actually making the move. Which has a good pace. 5 minutes left.
So onto that rock hold on the left.
You see she's using that third handle, which is super high. And she has a bit more of a reach because she's quite tall. And it It's really well for her.
It's really interesting to see her climb. She was actually saying that she's not perhaps training as much or as hard as she used to, but it doesn't seem to be affecting her performance. Still seems to be very much at the top of her game.
Well, there's so much experience there, and it's also quite a head game. Like, you need to find the right place of mind to be there in that final and perform at your best without all these distractions around you. You have to be confident in yourself, you'll be able to do it.
So she's got that jug and moves into the figure of 4. Now this hold, you were saying that she won't be able to see it, it's blind to her.
The next one,
Yeah.
You have to reach around that corner and you can maybe just see the bottom of it and reach over.
She tries to have a look.
It's really solid. Like, we can tell from here, but she's like, oh, what is it like? I don't know. Feels good enough, let's move. She's going for that clip.
She's got it.
I know Emir is really in her zone on the wall in that roof with the ice. Well, she does climb real ice outdoors, but on the comps it's such a...
It's a different thing, isn't it?
It's a really different thing.
I guess it's not technically hard, but you're just so perhaps scared that you don't want to make a mistake and just come off.
There's quite a chance you might rip through the ice because it's really cold, the ice is brittle, and you know this is also at the time you can speed up, win some seconds, but at the same time you don't want to
and
fall off.
Also, the ice, of course, if a hold breaks, it's a technical incident and you can appeal, but if the ice breaks, it's kind of tough, isn't it?
Yeah, if the ice breaks, it was just your own problem, your own fault. You should have maybe swing harder or found a bigger hole. There's so much choice on the ice.
So she's moving up the bar. Ema coming close to Marianne Sama-Thomas's high point of quick draw number 13.
And still 2 minutes on the clock. And she seems fine. Like, a little bit of shaking, but just into that stein.
Is the stein easier to maintain the higher up the axio and the position?
It's easier to get it into, but it's not as stable. So the moment you get your bottom handle, you can really jam it in there. You get a lot of leverage. But it's easier to just get that third grip, that high handle, to get it in there.
And that looks really unstable there. It's kind of that floating on top.
And this hold, you see you have to push on the right to keep your balance. Oh, there's quite a bit of time left.
Over
and
1
she's
minute.
Doing really well.
Next in the sights is Annie Berkling's high point, and
into that side move.
Is there much rivalry between Annie and Ema? They're the same age. They've been around for a while.
Well, it's not like you're climbing against the others. You're just climbing the best you can.
Right.
In a way.
In a way. Right now she's climbing against the clock.
Just 36 seconds left.
Over 30. Just the final push now.
She passed Marianne as well. 30 seconds. Would she make it top? Oh, then she has to power through.
Ema still going strong, giving it her all right until the very last second has run out. Oh no, and she's off. Really going for it.
Well, with 4 seconds left, that's fine. She
exactly,
did really well.
she wasn't going to get much higher, but just really went for it. So she now moves into second place behind Petra Klingler. And a really, really great performance there from Ema McSwiggan from Ireland, although she's really kind of based in Korea. That's where she kind of learnt to climb. But But she seems pretty happy. Gives Rob AD, who's from the organises everything from the UIAA. Friendly pat on the back.
She was not aware of the time. Well, she did really good there.
Yeah, super performance there from Emma McSwiggan. So here we are in stop 2 of the UIAA World Cup in Champagny-en-Vanoise, and this is Hyung Park, one of the all-time legends of the sport. Dennis, you must have crossed paths with him many times over the years.
Well, he's a veteran. He has been competing for such a long time and at such a high level that I'm really surprised he came back as strong this year. He climbed really well in Korea last week, and he still has the psyche. He really loves the sport. It's always really cool to meet him, like in isolation. He just makes jokes, has fun. It's cool to hang out with him.
But maybe his strength isn't that surprising. I was reading that he trains for 5 hours a day, 4 days a week. And, you know, as a 40-year-old, that's not bad.
Well, maybe if you're 40 years old, you need it.
You need that extra time. Well, you know, you joke, but he said, you know, that the thing that's now against him is age. But it doesn't seem to be slowing him down on this opening section. He's moved through that
paces
very, very quickly. Really fast.
There's a bit of a struggle on that hold, but not like Nathan. He just...
Yeah, Nathan really struggled here, and Hyung has just made it look easy.
Lost like 1 second. That's it. Double clips, really smart tactic. If you're moving, just clip 2 and 3. You save a lot of time.
Into that Stein now. Moves his hand further up and into another Stein. I guess it's really important, these opening moves, to try and climb it as quickly and as efficiently as possible if you're to try and get as high as you can. But I guess there's also the risk that if you're going too fast, you
might pop off, and that's something you don't want to do. That's exactly what I did in the semis. I was really going for it and it just popped off at hold number 4. But you can tell he really dialed this sequence in his head. He knew, like, okay, I'll move from hold 4 to 5, double clip 2, 3, pop up, and just win some time in the start. Using his hands here on the granite hold. Some people thought they were really slippery. Well, I thought they were fine, but you gain some height using your hands. Reverse handle.
Reverse is just a little bit less strenuous, isn't it?
Well, actually, I don't really like the grip on the reverse handle. It's just that your pick angle is different, so you can come in to a sideways hold. It's a bit easier.
He doesn't seem to mind these Iranian holds either.
No, it just moves on. You can tell he's new, or this hold is new to him. Like the top one, he hesitated there for like half a second before he moved into it.
Hyung makes his own holds as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of his holds actually on the wall at the moment, which is quite cool. You can climb on your own holds. But then there is a lot of new holds as well, and his holds have been around for the last 10 years almost, so people do know them and have been training on them. I got a bunch of them at home. I actually bought some new ones last week in Korea because they got worn out over I don't know how many training sessions.
He wouldn't want to fall on one though.
No, obviously
that
not.
would be
bit of a tangle there, but I think he would just move on. Oh yeah, that's experience right there. So he messed up his rope just a tiny bit, and he knew, okay, if I invert now, I'll be clean. Also climbing up into the ice first. Efficient clips here. Another double clip.
Well, he's no stranger to the ice. He is known as the Ice King, isn't he?
Yeah, that's also the name of his brand, of his holds, Ice King holds.
So for those not familiar with Hyun Park, he is an all-time star of the sport. He's a 3-time winner of the World Cup in 2011, 2013 and 2017. He's also a 4-time silver medalist overall, 14, 15, 16 and 19. So he's really been at the top of the sport for almost a decade now. Big reach, gets it. Maybe...
Yeah, he was just rearranging his pick because he knew this is a strenuous move, and that pick...
Let's see how he extracts his... Oh, made it look easy, didn't he?
Yeah, the figure 4 is really tricky, but it has his feet high in, and then that way he could maintain his height into a floater. Okay, he is human. He had to shake like once, and he's on to the next rock hold.
And this is the point, if you're Tristan Ladevant, you're going to be thinking, yeah, maybe I'm not going to be here for very long in the number 1 position.
Well, he has 2.5 minutes left. If he can maintain his pace, well, we'll see.
Anything is possible, but remember, there's still several more athletes to come.
And a whole bunch of moves to make. Well, here you can see how steep that roof actually is.
There's a little bit of a shake of both hands.
Reverse handle into another Stein. He had just 3 fingers on there for that, just a tiny bit of extra reach.
Crazy. So just less than 2 minutes remaining for Hyun Park.
Well, the next hold is his, so you should know where the sweet spot is.
So if he can get over this corner, he will be parallel with Tristan Ladevant.
That's a long reach. A dynamic figure 4 just in there. Wow. Oh, no,
Not quite.
No. Well, you can't see it, so it will be really hard to tell if you're in the sweet spot.
Well, he commits to it. Gets that 18th draw.
And now it's a floating move in the bottom of this volume. Onto an Iranian hold. No idea what he's moving on to now. Never seen that hold.
He is now moving into the lead. Can he top? He's got a minute left to do so.
Oh no!
Oh, he did well to hang on there. Big reach. Steps over.
This is a really long move.
45 seconds remaining. Can he get the top? He thinks so. Reaches up.
Oh no, it's so long.
Still got 30 seconds. He's going to hope to get it on the second. It's a solid Stein.
And he has it.
Amazing performance there from Hyun Park.
20 seconds to clip and match those tools.
He's going to do it.
Will he make it?
He's got to do it. Gets the draw.
12 seconds left.
And he does
matches. He has it.
Hyun Park tops with 10 seconds remaining on the clock.
Super performance.
So that's it. That kind of changes things up a little bit, because that really sets the bar high for the others who follow. Benjamin Bossard, Virgil Devin and Luna Ladevant, who all still to come.
They have to top now.
And
within, well, less than 10 seconds left.
That's it. If there's in the event of a tie and you both top, it comes down to the time. So Hyun Park is super happy there. He has worked. Oh, he's going to sit down. Brilliant. Great to see. Well, the route setters also must be really happy to see. You know, you want to set a route that's challenging and that is exciting and difficult for athletes, but also for the spectators. And so to see someone top just as the clock runs out.
Yeah, that's perfect. But then there's 4 more climbers to go. So for the route setters, it will be.
They'll be hoping not everyone tops.
We'll see if that's going to happen. such a long move. That final move, incredible.
So we're down to our last three athletes for both the women and the men. We've got Viviane Labarille next up for the women, warming up her arms, just giving them a good windmill, get the blood flowing to the extremities.
She did really well with speed earlier today.
Yeah, it was a great performance. And also, you know, she's got a little bit of a hamstring injury at the moment. So she's been managing that. She's not feeling like she's totally 100%. But really strong. She came last year at the World Championships in Saas-Fee. She came fourth. Just missed out on the podium. So she'll be hoping to try and get up there today. Let's see. She's got 8 minutes to get as high as she can. And remember that she hasn't seen any of the others coming through. She's been sat in isolation all this time. And that presumably must be quite difficult sometimes to be in isolation. You can't look at your phone. You can only sort of look at the notes that you've made and
reverse the whole route in your head, the way you've seen it in route preview.
Visualization and all those kind of techniques. Although sometimes I hear, you know, some athletes like to sleep, just rest. Or others might even play games. Maybe not before finals.
Finals, usually people are quiet. Yeah. There's quite a bit of tension. It's a little less... How do you say that? Well, there's more focus for sure. So she's matching on that second handle, trying to find another or slightly better hole in the volume hold. Here's the blind hook.
So far, so good for Viviane Labarille as she gets that fourth draw. Just in under 2 minutes. And then gets that rock. Works the hands. Gets a little bit higher. And then into that figure of four now so that she can reach up into that intellect hold. Gets that fifth quick draw. It's difficult to guess how much of an impact the speed will have had on her, but for sure it must take a toll. It must take an impact.
Oh, that's a really long reach, but she just makes that chain. Good aiming.
Great view of the structure. Really get a sense of just how overhanging it is and how big it is as well. To be all this time on your forearms must be very, very strenuous. Matches with the left. Does it?
Oh, she's crossing over. Quite interesting. Nice.
So far, she's looking quite confident, would you say?
She's going on a good pace. She doesn't take a lot of rest. But she's not overconfident. She's climbing a solid pace.
Working through the moves. Now it's onto that. At least it's a nice placement for the foot. It's quite a big reach. Can she stand up on that leg?
You saw the other climbers, most of them took the hold by hand.
Gingerly, she steps up, reaches,
and
searches for the hold and gets it. Yeah, she found the way. She found the key to unlock that particular puzzle. And gets draw number 9. just over 3.5 minutes now. So she's just got to clear this roof and then get onto the ice. Just got to clear this roof.
Only, yeah. Well, she kept her feet into the wall quite a long time. That's a good tactic. Less strenuous on the arms. And then if you go in a nice flow, it's like only 2 or 3 two figures of 4, 1 figure 9.
We are in the fig 4, just swapping the legs around. It looks pretty complicated.
So she's coming in from the other side. I think that holds still solid. Making another figure.
Gets that next draw. She's trying to get that draw.
Now she just has to clear the ropes into the ice.
And get on the ice. And she's done that. Now it's to get round this kind of arete onto...
Speeding up.
She is, yeah, quick, isn't she? Really fast. Working through that ice. Obviously feels very comfortable on ice. Amazing. She's been climbing for a very long time. She's still only 24, but has been around for almost a decade. Came second at the World Championships last year in the combined. She says her strength is her creativity. Oh, didn't quite get the that little metal hold.
She's moving fast, but you can tell the aiming is a little off.
The tiredness is beginning to show.
Yeah, well, she took first place in speed earlier today, so she climbed a lot of routes. But her pace is still really fast. 1.5 minutes.
Just a move really behind Marianne Salmon Thomas's last high point with 1.5 minutes left, so she clears that. Next is Annie Bertling's high point of 14:29.
She makes the clip. It's quite a small side hold. Long reach.
So we're hearing a lot of cries now from the crowd, willing her on now.
Last minute.
Gets that 15th draw, moves ahead of Annie Bertling now. Oh, she's off. A little bit disappointing there for Vivienne, perhaps with that extra time on the clock she could have got a little bit further. As you say, every athlete wants to think that they could have gone just that little bit further and topped the route. Look at her, she's knackered. She's beat. Did you see exactly what happened there?
I think she just ran out of energy. You saw that she moved like super steady and flowing in the first part. Then she went through the roof. And when she went through the ice, she took up a lot of speed. But then she slowed down a little bit, and you saw the pick placements were a little bit less precise. And then you can tell someone is really getting tired. And even then, she just moved on. Another 5 moves, I think. Really well.
Another great performance there from Vivienne Labarille. It would be a great thing for her if she could get on both podiums. But I don't know if she'll stay in third place. Still with Sina Gertz and Yunsun Shin still to come. But now we're switching over to the men. And this looks like Benjamin Bossard. He's another rising star, youngster, 19 years old. But already done a few youth seasons. So Benjamin Bossard just working through this opening section. Just makes easy work of that Stein. So Dennis Van Hook, thank you to him for joining us with his expert commentary. He now leaves the co-commentator's chair to go and watch the action from below and capture some of that atmosphere. So big thank you to Dennis for giving some really interesting insights there on some of the moves and the holds. And just spotting some of the things, the little intricacies. So Benjamin Bossard just fishing around there for that little sweet spot on that floater. Matches with the right. And reaches up now with the left. So Bossard, he came second in Saas-Fee last year, so clearly he's got the potential to go very high in this sport. Perhaps one day we're looking at a future winner. Also does a lot of climbing with Virgile Devin in the Alps, so he's not just a competition climber. They've teamed up for some routes. He's made easy work there of that Iranian hold. And here we are, this magnificent ice structure here in Champagny, built just over 20 years ago, originally as a temporary structure. And then a few years later, they decided to make it permanent. And it's been attracting climbers ever since. Big reach there onto that hidden hold. Gets the draw. The efficiency with which he gets the draws is also quite impressive. That can be a drain on energy. Nice moves there from Ben Bossard, and he's straight away, he's touching the ice. And he's on the ice. So this is exciting because we're being joined by Dennis's wife, Marianne van der Steen. Marianne, great to have you here.
Yeah, I just thought I'll take it over and see how it goes over here.
So let's just check out how Ben is doing, and then we'll hear a little bit about how your route and how you felt you got on.
All right, that's good.
So
yeah.
Benjamin is just traversed across the ice now, and here's about hooking that chain. He gets it first time. This is one of the most interesting moves.
That was really secure.
What do you make of these chains?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny item. I think it's the first time to use this on the World Cup right now. It gives you really dynamic moves, which makes it that you can make even bigger moves. So in that way, it's very interesting.
But the extraction is quite... Some athletes have struggled.
If you don't know how to do that, that's really... Yeah, you have to train it for a bit. So we at home, we have this in our bouldering room. So I kind of know how to take it. But if you don't... Oh, that's it. It's going to hold on? Yeah, I think so.
Look at him. He's so strong.
He is.
2.5 minutes remaining, just under. Definitely, he's capable of getting very, very high on the route here.
They train a lot in Switzerland with those stone holds, and you see how he's holding them. So he's not wrapping them, but he's actually taking them straight on, which is quite different from the other athletes. So it makes a difference. You can be more dynamic onto them.
A lot of athletes don't like those stone holds, do they?
No, they're so unpredictable. But if you train a lot on them, they might become better, and that's part of the Swiss team. They have them a lot on Saas-Fee for the training purposes as well.
He's moving really fast now, isn't he? Just still, you expect them to move fast early on, but this is really the upper part of the route, and he's storming through.
he's got so much energy left. Still, you see also his shoulders moving upwards, meaning he's still got a lot of energy in those shoulders also, not so much pump.
And he's got that first time he scored that.
Yeah, he definitely.
Hyung took a couple of goes to find the exact spot there. Over a minute remaining now. I think we're going to see a top if I don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it, but you might actually.
Minute left. The crowd want it.
It becomes harder to pull up the rope here, so it takes a lot of extra energy.
With the rope drag, yes.
Yeah.
Now this is a big reach, but this is a man with a big reach. Can he do it? He can. He sticks
In
it.
one go.
One go. He's going to top, and he will. With that, matches with the right. He tops with 48 seconds remaining on the clock. He now moves into the lead.
That's a perfect position.
40 seconds faster than Hyung Park, so he now moves into the lead. Ben Bossard from Switzerland. Great performance from this young athlete.
Yeah, and he's young, so I'm wondering if he's actually expecting this, if he expected to be in this place.
Well, if you came second last year in Saas-Fee, you might
True.
hope that you can reach the top.
He looks happy. Great. He's using Russian ice axes also. A lot of them are still using the Russian tools.
So, Mary, tell us how you got on with your route. Were you happy? Do you think you could have got a little bit further?
I'm always very critical about my climbing, so I'm not really sure if I should be happy.
So yeah, do you? You must. I guess it's the cliche that there's only one person who's going to be happy, and that's the person who
Of
comes
course.
first, and the rest is just degrees of.
You want to have your perfect climb, and there's always something that can happen, and I think I should have climbed a little bit faster. But that's always easy to say afterwards.
So we're now looking at Sina Gertz. What can you tell us about Sina?
Oh, she's definitely from a climbing family, with her dad being a mountain guide, her brother being a mountain guide as well. So there was actually probably no possibility otherwise of just being a climber, and she's actually a really talented one as well. So from Switzerland helps a lot in being able to be a climber, of course. And I remember that her first speed climb, she didn't have the shoes, so we borrowed her some shoes, but actually she was already in the finals having borrowed shoes and everything, so that was really great. She's really talented.
That's crazy. And even though she's still only 23, she's been competing since 2015.
Right, yeah, she was so young when she started. So much experience already.
Yeah, so she's a real veteran. But she was telling me yesterday that she's finding it a little bit harder now to find the time for training because, of course, she's studying and working as well at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing of adult life.
How do you do it?
Not so easy. As for everyone. Everybody has their struggles to be able to be here and to get enough finances and all that kind of thing. So it's just part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, so she's studying to be a psychologist, she told me.
Which is an interesting profession, I think, as a climber, because there's a lot of mental things involved in climbing as well.
Yeah, I was going to mention such a head game.
Definitely. Being able to climb here, not being too nervous, being concentrated enough, having the focus on finding the right place, like for the next volume. Here is a little volume, and it's got millimeter small holds onto them. So being able to hold on to that and focus on keeping your eyesight stable, that's interesting.
How much do you work out in observation? Do you get a sense of exactly where the holds are and how you have to take them?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm naturally very good at this, I think. So I don't need too much time. I don't need to write it down, for example, where most athletes do write it down. Most have a notebook, and then afterwards, when we're back in isolation, you go and look at the route together and guess okay, this is going to be the move. I'm going to take it like a stein pull. I'm going to take it sideways, that kind of things. I personally don't need to, but I see a lot of athletes doing this together. And the Swiss team is big. And it helps a lot, of course, so you can discuss these kind of things together with your team. And it's what she did in isolation as well. She's moving pretty fast.
She is. She had a great performance in the semi-finals as well. Although she sort of said to me, I didn't feel confident. I felt really shaky, but I'm sure that's just the
Everybody
everybody
does.
says that, yeah.
The thing also here is that it's really cold, so everybody is not feeling comfy because of the cold also.
How does that affect you? Is it just getting the optimum body temperature, or is it affecting your hands?
Everything, I think. So you need to have more muscles to be able to do so many pull-ups in a row, basically. And you don't... Well, it's harder to achieve this if it's that cold. So this morning it was minus 20 Celsius. And that's when we started with the speed climbing. And the ice is brittle, so it becomes more difficult to warm up. But for Sina, being from Switzerland, being from a mountain guide family, it's not the first time for her being in the cold. And I think that helps a lot, knowing already what to expect when it's that cold. So you know how to warm up, and how your warm up is different from warmer weather like we had in Korea last week.
Exactly, being conditioned, even though it looks like she's got no body fat at all on her.
No, you don't have much. You can't have much. Just the training already takes it away. We all lose weight actually during the season instead of gaining weight, just because of the cold and performing in the cold.
Now, how challenging is this roof? It seems like once you've got the kind of sequence of Fig 4s and Fig 9s dialed, it's kind of okay.
The holds are not that difficult in the roof. I was surprised by the ease of the holds in the roof. They're relatively stable, so it's not that you're turning on them whilst in a figure of 4, and that helps being able to move forward onto the ice where she is right now.
So Sina's still got 4 minutes remaining on the clock, and she's on the ice. We saw Vivian Labaril moving really, really quickly through the ice here.
Yeah, you have to move quickly. The only thing is that the ice is really cold and brittle as well, so you also have to be a little bit careful not to pull anything too hard outwards, because breaking ice does not count as a technical incident, meaning that if the ice breaks and you fall, you're out.
And that's just tough, isn't it? Also, you don't want to get too high here, do you? Because otherwise you won't be able to get that draw.
Yeah. You need to stay low first and then move to the side. And she's got one hold left. I'm not sure if she's going to take it or straight away. She's going for it straight away. Actually makes the move harder, but more efficient because you have to do less moves. So it saves you seconds of time.
Gets the draw.
Great.
Little shake at the same time.
clean.
Looking good, Sina Gertz.
Definitely looking good with 3 minutes left. I think she's got chances for a top for sure.
Onto that metal hold.
The metal hold is actually quite good. It's got a big hole. I expected it to be a small one, but this one is relatively good, and that's also the reason why she's shaking from it. She's very stable on it. And then has to move onwards again. Now you have to turn around with your whole body. It takes quite some energy, body tension to be able to turn around for the next hold.
And then get your leg over onto that kind of that wall.
Yeah, to the other wall on the other side.
So having good flexibility here is probably a help.
Hip flexibility for sure. Yeah, we also train this and warm up in isolation. See all the athletes also moving a lot with their legs and not just with your arms, because you need to have the flexibility in your legs.
Just over 2 minutes remaining now for Sina.
Tricky small hold. I think it might be confusing for her as well, because we all read that we needed this second hold as well, but you actually don't. That one is good again.
So yeah, she's just left it clean out.
Yeah. Skipping some holds. Shows how much strength she's got left when you can skip some holds there.
So Petra may be wondering whether this is the moment that she gets eclipsed. It must be difficult for the mindset of Petra. You know, you don't want your competitor to fall off, but kind of maybe secretly you wouldn't be upset if they did.
Everybody is on one hand hoping the other will fall off, but at the same time you want the best to win, and you want that's just the main thing, or at least I hope that's what my idea about the climbing. You want just the best to win and not just wishing everybody off.
She's really got the crowd willing her on now.
Yeah.
Look there, we can see, is that Petra down there?
Yeah, Petra's actually watching right now.
She's watching along with Vivian. Moving really well now. Sina gets that 16th draw.
And this is also motivation. You know you're so close to the top, so you so close on the feeling of winning, because topping feels like winning.
She's moved now ahead of Emma McSwiggan. 50 seconds remaining. She will get
she
ahead
can
of
make that.
Petra if she gets that top in time. Gets it with one tool. She's got to get the quick draw and then match with the other hand. 40 seconds remaining. Oh, a little bit of rope drag. She's going to do it. And then she's got to get that other tool, and she does it.
She does it. She even's got 30 seconds left. That's really strong. Fast climb.
Great performance there from Sina Gertz, who moves into first place, overtaking Petra Klingler, who now moves into second place.
And Emir going to third place, which is also a very good climb of Emir.
We've still got one more climber to come, so it's not over yet.
No.
But for sure, that ascent will put her in very good standing now. It lays down the bar for Jönsson. If she's to win, she's got to climb there and still top with more than 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, she does. She's got a big chance, though.
Really great moves here from Sina.
Strong shoulder moves.
There she got
And the top in time. Must be so motivating for her.
So back to the men.
Back to Team France.
Team France, Virgile Devin.
Yeah, Virgile, pretty young climber.
Yeah, he's 22.
Yeah.
3 years older, though, than Benjamin Bossard. We were saying earlier that a lot of the guys are kind of they're some really young climbers, like the young Jejum Lim is 18. Only Hyung Park is in his 40s. Everyone else seems to be kind of early 20s, whereas in the women, generally, you're a lot more experienced, should we say.
Yeah, well, experience most of the times comes with age, except for when you start on a very young age with this. You have to have a certain type of talent as well. And I think Virgile has got the accuracy in his climbing and went past the recklessness on a young age already. Because sometimes you see climbers being a little bit too reckless, but he still's got the dynamic moves, but not reckless. So that's good. That's what you need in the climbing.
Yeah, that is the absolute enemy of all young climbers, is that kind of recklessness, that kind of go for it attitude and don't care, to hell with the consequences.
And then sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. And here he's just super stable, with always actually winning or very close to the podium.
So he's the overall winner of the European Tour from last year.
Yeah, which I think was a very good start for him, because he hasn't done much. He actually started just with the competition climbing just when COVID started as well. So he always says this as an excuse, like, I don't have so much experience, but he's been training so much, so I think he's got a lot of experience. He just doesn't see it himself that way.
But he's been in the French team, I think, since 2018.
Yeah, but didn't compete always. So he's been taking some time off and off on competitions.
And it is, I guess, two very different things, being part of competition experienced and generally experienced. It's a whole different ball game.
Same as for the outdoor climbing, does help on the competitions, but you shouldn't be only doing the outdoor stuff to be able to understand all these weird holds, like the metal hold from Iran, which is holding right now.
Well, interestingly, he says that the one hold he doesn't like are metal holds. But
and here he's got 2 metal holds from one to the other.
He doesn't seem to mind too much.
He knows he can't. He just needs to hold them and move on. Don't think about this. Don't think about having difficulties with these moves. You have to rely on yourself, trust yourself that you can do this. Otherwise it slows you down.
Big reach over across to the middle, but he's certainly got a big reach.
Smart clipping also, because you need to take in so much rope, saving some energy.
Into the fig 4. Gets that 10th quick draw. And now he'll have his eyes on that big reach. What hold is that? Is that a... It's difficult
I think
to
it's
see.
a Korean hold as well. It's a relatively good one.
Now onto the ice. Oh, he goes for a swing.
That's daring, because that's a tricky thing on breaking ice. But it holds, so it's good.
Good for him. Next stop, the chain, just around the corner.
Moving fast. Hope he sees the clip.
Yeah, I was just thinking that he hasn't. Is he
Go
in
on,
danger of
Virgie.
getting out of bounds there?
No, if he can still reach. He's not allowed to back climb for the clip, but he's allowed to do this. If he can reach it, but it takes him a lot of time.
So he did get marked down last weekend. He was lucky not to lose in lucky not to win in Cheongsong.
Yeah, there was a bit of strange competition for him as well. He was really tired afterwards. We travelled home together over a flight to France. The only thing he did was sleep.
Big reach now. Gets it the second time.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of accuracy to be able to hold the hold and the right
Oh no!
place. Yeah,
He's
there
off.
you go. That's painful.
Prematurely off for Virgil Devan. His ascent ends in disappointment.
He wasn't hoping for that one.
Certainly there was a lot of time left on the clock, and he's a little bit upset with that one.
Frustrated. Understandable, because you want it to be perfect, your climb, and if it isn't because of falling off, then yeah.
But that is the nature of the sport. It is unforgiving. Just a little mistake and you're off.
Yeah, you have to be very, very precise at all times, and sometimes, yeah.
He shakes his head in disbelief. I mean, up until this point, he was looking strong. Although, as he rounded the arête here, he lost his feet.
The clip here was a little bit confusing, and I think it also has to do with what he had last week with disqualification on touching the structure. So Sunny up, one of the older girls in the finals.
No, she's 42. She's younger than yourself and Ema.
No, I'm 38.
Oh, excuse me. You're younger than Eni and Ema.
Yeah. And Sunny has been going on. I think we started at the same year with competition climbing.
Well,
But
her
then-
debut was back in 2007. Was that when you?
I think I can't remember exactly the years if we both started at the same time. At least she's got a lot of experience, and also on this wall, it's not the first time that she climbs on this wall, which helps her a lot. Although I talked to her quite a few times over the past weeks, and she said she didn't train as much, so she wasn't sure what she was capable of, but she showed last week that she was very, very capable.
Is that another one of those climbers? Oh, I don't really train that much. I think we can expect great things from Yunsen, provided there are no kind of disasters. She's certainly got the experience.
She definitely has the experience
And
and the focus.
I was actually going through a while back and counting the number of World Cup wins that she has, and there are 10 of them.
10 already.
Yeah, well, it's second only to Maria Tolokonina from Russia, who
Right.
has 21. But Yunsen, she has had disasters as well. So I think back in 2017 she was on track to win, and then came 16th in Cheongsong, 23rd in Sasfei,
Oh, yeah.
and it was just ended really badly. So
Yeah, I remember that year. Yeah.
you can have bad years.
Yeah, and it must be really painful and difficult to motivate yourself to continue again. But here she is, and she's actually, well, she's ranked first, meaning she has a big chance on winning here.
Yeah, and she came second last weekend in Cheongsong. So is she? The interesting thing also, it's not just today. It's the overall World Cup standings, and if she overtakes Petra, she'll get the points and move into the lead potentially. And or it could be no, it'll be Petra.
No,
We'll
it
have to do
won't.
some maths, but at any rate, it's all change on the World Cup standings.
There's one more World Cup to go, so we'll have to see how that one goes then. Well, let's not speculate about that.
First, you've got to
First, you have to top the route.
exactly.
And she's got good chances. She's a very efficient climber. She knows a lot of different holds, helping her a lot in those kind of,
So here she's on that kind of what they call intellect hold, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
that little metal divot inside.
Because the brand is intellect.
Yes.
So they make, it looks like sports climbing holds, but it's called a metal plate. So the hold doesn't wear out that fast, and it's more secure. It's not like a granite hold, which can change during the route. The metal can hardly change, of course. She's climbing very dynamically, more dynamically compared to the other competitors, I guess. But she is also slightly taller than most competitors, so it looks slightly different. And of course, it helps a bit to be tall in this sport with your reach.
She's certainly looking really efficient as she's working through this opening part of the route. She just has a little look just to check the picks are in the right place.
I understand that because I took that hold straight as well, but it's kind of tricky holding it straight. You're not allowed to move anything on your ice axe, but she's relatively tall, so she can handle it, as you see.
And were you aware that this hold that she's coming to now is like a really
That's
bomber hold?
huge.
Yeah, it's a massive jug.
The man had this one in their semi-finals for Dino, so that's just bomber, we would say. Here in the background, the Koreans calling.
And can you see this hold? It's also good, this yellow one.
Yes.
But are you aware, or is it seems like you're approaching it blind?
This one, yeah, you're approaching it blind, but you're guessing. And after a while, with experience, you become good at a guessing game. Now she has to move fast through the ice, not lose her feet. That's the tricky thing in the brittle ice.
4.5 minutes. Big reach there. Doesn't want to climb too high. We'll see how she takes it.
And she's already bringing the rope with, which is a very smart thing because there's quite some rope drag, making it heavier to take the rope. So she made this clip really efficient. That's nice. Also skipping the other blue hold in the ice, going straight for the wall again.
Onto that. Is that a stone hold there?
No, this one is also a Korean hold. It's just a hang hold, and this one is also like an epoxy-shaped hold. They actually cut a piece out of it so you can use it as a stein pull. And the next one is metal again. It's interesting. She takes it differently from the other competitors. She takes it as a stein pull again, and in that way she's got much more reach for this one, saving energy.
I guess that's half the battle, isn't it? Just to try and conserve that energy for as long as possible.
Definitely. You have to be efficient. I guess she's gonna see if she can skip the hold. No, she's not. Now she's actually losing time in the confusing.
Get a good view there of just how steep and overhanging this structure is.
And how mountainous it is in the background. This is really like an ice climbing scenery.
It's a great location.
Definitely a great location. It's very cold. It's definitely in the mountains. There's a lot of ice. There's actually ice around the whole structure. You can go ice climbing outdoors here as well, making it a real ice climbing destination.
And other winter sports as well. We were ski touring a couple of days ago. So lots of on the Paradis ski resort just on the doorstep, La Plan.
The big ski resort also. She's moving fast.
Yunsun Shin now. She can get around this
Intellect
volume.
again. Little metal hold where she has to hold on. But she knows this hold, so it's okay.
Just over 2 minutes remaining.
She does this smart thing with her arm again, pulling the rope up with her arm whilst moving on. So she's got more height with the rope, making it a little easier to clip.
Gets that draw. Would you say she's about level with where Sina was, or was Sina a little bit more? I almost think she's got a little bit more time than Sina. She seems to be a little bit quicker.
I have the idea that she's a little faster because Sina had 30 seconds left after she clipped.
Big shouts now coming from below.
She's got more than a minute left, so that's a good thing.
She's
for the win.
She's going to get the draw.
Super heavy to clip.
She's got the draw. She matches, and she's done it, and she wins.
I think this is going to be a win.
Minute and a half remaining on the clock. That puts her ahead of Sina Gertz, and she will take the win. Yunsun Shin.
She doesn't know it yet, but she's happy.
Fantastic performance there.
Very good performance. So efficient with the rope, the clipping back, with her arm. Some struggles in between, doubting about some holds, but she regained her strength.
So her scores have been updated. She reached the top in 6:27, and Sina was a minute slower, so 7:29. And Sina wasn't slow.
No, definitely not. And it's surprising. That's what I said earlier. It's sometimes it looks like somebody is moving slow, but just because of their body posture, it is actually not that slow at all.
So a really great performance there from Yunsun Shin. Another gold to add to her tally. Fantastic performance.
Number 11.
So we've just got one remaining athlete to climb.
Very curious how he's going to do. Team France again.
Yeah, difficult. I wouldn't like to have the pressure that he feels going into this, because he was in a similar position last week when he bombed early, but at least he's got his own gear. Of course, last weekend they were all on borrowed kit because theirs hadn't turned up.
Everything was borrowed, and that's such a difficult mental game to be climbing then, and so many unlucky moments he had on that trip. But he's got everything back, and this is his home wall, and we'll see what he can do over here. He said earlier that I'm not that nervous, it's okay, just have to climb, I know what it's like to win. Well, that's good confidence to start with.
He's a great athlete, Luna, always makes a very fast start, gets really excited, 22 years old, and he's definitely got a point to prove here, and this is his home territory.
He wants to prove it.
And he's off. He's got 7 minutes now to get to the top.
The routes, both routes, start pretty tricky already. It's not easy holds. They move fast because they're just very good climbers, but it's not so easy. And that's slightly different from what we saw in Korea last week, where the start was relatively easy and it gradually progressed to more harder moves. Here you really have to move from the first move onwards.
He's moving, he's very aggressive, moving very quickly.
Very, very quickly, and he's also taking the holds very accurate.
He of course doesn't know that Baekjun Bossar and Hyung Park have both topped. And he won't know their times either.
No.
But he knows, what he does know is that he's got to top and do it as quickly as he can. And he's certainly showing, he's not hanging around, is he?
He's definitely not. No time to rest.
1 minute gone.
And already at clip 6. I have the feeling he's slightly faster than the others.
Difficult to say.
Yeah. Back to the Iranian hold. Shaking a little bit, but that shaking might also have to do with the cold.
It must be so hard. You've been, for the last 2 hours, he's been sat in isolation to then come out.
And at a certain moment, you sit there alone. And the only way, you can only think about things. So it's a mind game for sure.
So Luna Ladevant now, he approaches the roof, just this little upside down section to get across, and then it's onto the ice.
I can't see the hold, but it doesn't seem like a super good hold, because he's trying to keep his body quite stable there. This one is much better.
Flips over onto the figure 9.
How much more dynamic he goes onto this move. And then onto the ice.
It's good. He's on the ice. He's really, he's racing up this, isn't he?
He's definitely racing.
Next up,
he knows that he has to be. Tricky with the structure also.
Well, they just have to stay below that red line. That's the important out-of-bounds area.
There's been quite some discussion about what is allowed to be held and what not. And
so he got that draw, and it's now the chain that he needs to get to next. How's his accuracy? He's got it.
Good.
Not quite first time.
Not as perfect as Benjamin just had it. But he's got it, so it doesn't matter.
Now, big reach across.
Now, important to keep your feet in the wall, because the hold is not fantastic. You have to move relatively dynamic into the... It's not an undercling, but you have to take it under, so we call this a floater.
Very unstable it looks. But once again, Luna makes easy work of it. He's now surpassed the point where Virgil Devan came unstuck.
And moving on to another intellect.
3.5 minutes remaining.
What he really does well here is kicking with his feet. He keeps his feet very hard into the wall, so he can actually stabilize his body a lot better with just using his feet. So if something goes wrong, you still have got that out of your body.
The concentration required. I mean, he must be like way out of his breath. He's just working so hard here.
Yeah.
But incredible performance here from
You train to suffer.
from Luna Ladevant.
Perfect position there. Also a Korean hold. It's quite surprising how many Korean holds we have here in France.
So now the crowd are getting excited, and so are we.
Because
As
he's
Luna
so
now
close.
approaches the final section of the wall, and he's got 2.5 minutes remaining.
Which should be enough to top.
He's got to get faster than Ben Bossard, who topped in 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
This takes him quite a bit of time. Yeah. But there he goes. Can he do it? 2 minutes left. That's going to be so close.
It's going to be really, really close. I don't want to call it. He's just taking his time a little bit here. If he's to do it, he needs to do it in the next 30 seconds.
He's got one hole to go, so he can. Dynamic.
Oh, no!
No.
Oh, he did so well to hang on there.
Oh. Kick harder, dude. Come on. Kick with your feet and go.
30 seconds,
This is so close.
but he's got to do it in.
He's got to
He's
run
pulls the draw,
right
come
now.
on.
Come on.
He's got the top. He's done it. Luna Ladevant.
Oh, he's
With
done
that,
it.
he's topped, and he should take the win with that. We'll wait for the judges to confirm, but he will almost certainly. Look at that. He's happy. He is really psyched. He takes the win here in Champagny-en-Vanoise in France.
On his home ground. That's a really great win.
That is the perfect answer to the disappointment of last week. 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So still 45 seconds faster than Ben Bossard. What a performance here from Luna Ladevant. And he can't believe it. He's overjoyed. He's just delighted, as are the crowd. A great performance for a French athlete winning on French soil. And it would seem he's a little bit out of breath.
He must be. He climbed really, really fast. He needed to climb fast, but he did. It's managing it all the way to the top was great.
Just see him there. That big, big reach. For a moment there, I thought he was going to lose his tool. It just got a little bit stuck on the rope. But the speed with which he climbed was just astonishing. And here, you can see the rope drag. He's trying to pull it.
Struggling so hard. Yeah, the blue hold at the top.
He really can't contain his joy there. Look at that war cry. Come on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a end all the action here of the lead finals here in Champagny-en-Vanoise. Now let's look at those final results. In 8th place was Marianne Thomas. Annie Bertling was 7th. Marianne van der Steen was 6th. Vivian Labril came 5th. Emir McSweden goes into 4th. The 3rd place is Petra Klingler. 2nd, Sina Gertz. And 1st is Yunsun Shin from Korea. And then over on the male side, Lim Jejung came 8th. Jungyung Lee is 2nd. Virgil Devan is 6th. Nathan Clare is 5th. Tristan Ladevant is 4th. Hyung Park is 3rd. Benjamin Bossard is 2nd. And Luna Ladevant takes the win with 1st place. Now, in a moment, we might be able to see the overall standings for the World Cup. So, this changes things. In 3rd place now is Sina Gertz. 2nd place is Petra Klingler. And now leading the rankings going into Saasve next weekend is now Yunsun Shin with 180 points, but there's nothing between them, so it could go anyway, with Ema McSwiggan in 4th, Marianne van der Steen in 5th, Haruko Takuchi in 6th, Vivian Labarol in 7th, and Olga Cossack in 8th place. And for the overall standings of the men now, in 8th place is Young-Hae Kwon, 7th is Keenan Griscom from America, Virgil Devan is 6th, Young Gun Lee is 5th from Korea. 4th place is Benjamin Bossard with 102 points. And not far ahead is Luna Ladavon, moves into 3rd place now with 106 points. Tristan Ladavon ahead of his brother with 165 points. Joint first with Hyung Park, also with 165 points. So it could go anyway next weekend. So thank you for watching. Do join us in Saas-Fee next weekend for more of World Cup, for the final World Cup stop. And lastly, thank you to Marianne for joining us in the studio.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.